Hey guys, it's Rebecca Oberstadt, and in today's video I am doing a very first impression of the new BH Cosmetics Cancer palette. This is from their Zodiac line. This was a early birthday gift to me from Sylvia, and I did unbox it on my September live stream for my Shop My Stash. I have not used this palette yet. I haven't touched it. I unboxed it, said I wasn't going to use it just yet. I wanted to do a first impression video really quick before I did swatches of this. Just because I was curious. So I wanted to see how the shadows and stuff worked before I did swatches, so that way in the swatch video I can talk about that a little bit more in depth. And then I'll be doing like multiple looks with this palette. I didn't do any base makeup. I just threw on some lip gloss real quick because my lips were feeling dry, and I will see what the fallout situation is when I get blending and whatnot. I didn't want to do like corrector concealer, anything like that, until I knew how some of these shadows work. Some of these shadows I know have fallout, some of them don't, so it just depends on the actual palette. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'll do two looks like I usually do. I'm gonna go into shade number 1. It's like a salmony, like dusty rose kind of shade. It's a little bit of kick up in the pan. This is a Essence eye blending brush. And there's like nothing on my face at all. Okay, that was like super easy. It's a beautiful shade. And I have some dry spots up here. It's showing up just a little bit. So I'm going to take my finger and press over, and then I'll blend again. And I'll pick up just a little bit more. There's like hardly any fallout. And I think I want to try something different with my shimmer shadows today. Usually, like I'll do like a darker color and then do a shimmer, but I want to try something a little bit different. I'm going to grab the third shade in, which is a shimmery kind of version as the first shade that I use. So I'm going to grab this. This is a natural hair brush. It doesn't look like a whole lot's going on the brush. Let me try my finger. Hello? Okay, I have more shimmer down here than I do on my eyelid. This is more like a topper shade. So get a Lepsy brush. This is my 245. Yeah, 245. I'm gonna dip it in water and then just run the water on the back of my hand to just make sure that the brush has some moisture in it. And then I'm gonna go back into that shade with a wet brush. It's very sheer, people. Very sheer. This is like definitely what I would call a topper shade. And then I'm pressing it over this to try and get it to stick so it doesn't settle into this crease right here. Okay, I'm gonna grab the next one, which is shade 4, and I'm just gonna use my finger. This also looks like a topper. What the hell, BH? I've never seen them do this kind of shadow in one of these palettes before. I'm just wiping my brush off on the makeup cloth in my lap. Just got the brush re-wet. I'm just gonna try and pick up some of this. It's like my eyelid, but shimmery. This is very unusual. This is not like any of the other mini palettes. Like really digging my finger in there. Oh, hello. We got some pigment. And a whole lot of shimmer fallout. Okay, that was odd. Odd. Very, very odd. Now I'm all shimmery. I'm kind of afraid to try and go back in that first shade. I'm gonna end up with more glitter all over my face. These are very glittery shadows. And I might as well just take this little toppery shade and run it up here. I mean, it's pretty. I would probably have put that first shade from lash to crease in order to get it to like have something underneath of it, had I known that those shadows were so sheer. And then now it looks like I've got bald spots. It's like every time I move my eyelid with the brush, when I let go, it's leaving like weird little bald spots. I don't even know if the camera's gonna pick it up. This is odd. Alright, so I'm just going to jump in here. I'm going to be adding this as a clip in my first impression video of the Cancer palette. I have had a chance to talk to Sylvia about this. I've had several days to cool down. I've thought about ways that I could get this to work. And I even watched a couple of other videos. I watched the 2 videos that BH did, and then there was another lady that had talked about the same issues that I had. Now, and it's falling on my pants, that's just great. Let me put a towel on my lap. So she had the same issue with these shades that I did, and I'm going to show you. This shadow now has a divot in it just from trying to use it or trying to swatch it. So I was really disappointed with that because I'm very gentle with my eyeshadows. I then want to show a couple of different techniques really quick. Taking the very first shade, and I'm not doing any other makeup. This is just an informational part of stuff. I'm going to put this right here and blend this all over my eye. And this is the brush that I used when I did this the other day. I'm then going to take a Wet n Wild. This is more of like a flat packing type of brush. And I'm going to pick up some color and make sure that my eyelid is completely covered in shadow. Now in BH's video, they used concealer and then put this shade over the concealer, but then she didn't use any of the shades that I had major issues with. And of course my eye wants to water right now. That's just lovely. There's a lot of fallout. Now, they used a BH brush, but I'm going to take this little, it's like a denser packing brush, and I'm going to go into that the third shade, and I'm going to put this on the inner part of my eye. Now, I thought of doing this a couple of different ways. Okay, now I will zoom this in via editing, probably more. This is where we're at right now. It's barely there. I did put another shadow underneath, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up on my finger. And it just fell on my face. This is just a toppery shimmer shade. It is very, very sheer. But using your finger, it blends out the chunkiness of it. Now, I'm just going to wipe this on the towel on my lap. I'm going to go into the shade that has a divot in it, but still finding that divot spot. There's like hardly any product on here at all, so you really kind of have to like scrub your brush into it. And there is multicolored glitter in here. Now, let me move my eyelids so that you can see a little bit better. It's very, very sheer, very chunky. So then taking my finger and just lightly rubbing it on the pan, because I don't want another divot spot. And for those that don't know, a divot comes from the game of polo, where the riders are riding across the land and the horses are picking up, when they go pick up their feet to run, it digs out spots on the lawn and it leaves a bare spot with a little chunk of dirt and grass next to it. So what they used to do is they used to, like in between the games, have people go out and put the divots back in the hole and stamp them down with their feet. There's a lot of fallout with these shades, but using my finger, yes, it's still very glittery and but with a finger, it's a lot smoother. Now you could probably, even using a wet brush, I didn't notice a huge difference with these shadows. So let me get this wet. Just using water out of the sink. I'm gonna go back in and make like a paste with this shadow. See the difference now? Now I'm just going to flip my brush over and go back into that first shade that I used and do the same thing and kind of turn it into a cream or a paste. See the difference? It's a lot more opaque, and then I'm just going to try and blend those two lines. And now you can see, so you can use it dry and it's very chunky, very sheer, very see-through. You can then use your finger to smooth out the chunkiness of it, but it's still very sheer and very see-through. Or if you get your brush wet and then turn the powder product into like a cream or like a paste, something that's very wet, and I didn't knock off the water on this brush like I normally would. Normally I would run my fingers through it or like take off the extra moisture off the brush. I didn't do that. And then go in, it then transforms it so that it's like a liquid shadow, and then you can get it to work. So I'm gonna just wipe this again on the towel, just trying to take off extra product because it's under the camera. So I'm going to be using this brush in just a second. Now, for this eye, I wanted to show you how to use the two darker, the blue shades. This is black with silver glitter. So I'm going in with my Scone Cosmetics brush. I used this the other day to try and get this to work. Now this black is more opaque than the one in the main Zodiac palette. It's darker, it's blacker, it's richer, and I'm not worried about lines. I'm just trying to do an example. Okay, now that we have a black base down, taking the brush, I'm gonna use what little water is kind of still in the bottom of the sink, get the brush re-wet. Now this one I am gonna just kind of run the water off onto the back of my hand. I'm going to go into this shade here, and again I'm turning it into like a paste. Because these are like topper shades, you really have to get your brush wet. Alright, so there it is wet. I'm going to stick my finger in the bottom of the pan that I didn't get wet. And I'm going to put it on the outside edge and then come close so you can see not only is there a color difference, but there's an opacity difference. And I'm going to go over that one more time. Hopefully you can see the difference from the front part of my eye to this part of my eye. This is a little bit more chunky. You can see the shimmer in it a little bit better. And then you can just run the wet brush back over it to smooth it all out. This is what I was trying to do during the first impressions video, and it just literally just made me so angry because I couldn't get anything to work. I couldn't get it to blend right, and I just took the color off the Scone brush. I'm just gonna blend up here a little bit for that black line. then if you were gonna do anything else, you could just do some cleanup and whatnot. And then that eye look is actually ready to go for liner, mascara, whatever you're gonna do. I would probably blend this a little bit more, but I am using a dense packing like shader brush. And this actually, I think says, yeah, it says a large shadow brush on the end. But this is like a very dense like shader brush. And I think that looks a lot better. I've literally racked my brain to figure out what I could do to make these work because I was so frustrated. I literally was in tears after that video. And I was so upset because this was a gift. And I don't ever want, when people spend their hard-earned money to buy me something, I want to love it. And the fact that I had so many issues with this palette at first, I was heartbroken because of the fact that it was a gift. And somebody did spend their very hard-earned money on me for this gift, who lives in a whole other country across the ocean from me. And it really made me, that was probably why I was so upset and so angry, was because this was not like any of the other little mini palettes. And I was just so upset and frustrated that I couldn't get it to work, that I had to work with it, and I literally just I haven't touched makeup since I did that video, other than swatching this on my hand and using a couple of different brushes, trying to see what would work, what works well, what doesn't work, that kind of thing. And I spent most of last night laying in bed, like thinking about ways I could get this palette to work for me without me wanting to rip all my hair out and go outside and scream my head off. So hopefully this is helpful. I will insert this in the first impression video. This is not a first impression, of course, but I wanted to at least, because I was so angry in that video and so frustrated, I wanted to come back with a clearer head, a calmer demeanor, and maybe give you some tips and tricks on how to get this to work. So hopefully this is helpful, and back to the video I recorded 5 days ago. Well, let's try the other eye. No, I'm scared. All right, I'm gonna go back into that first shade. Oh, let me get this brush since that's the one I use that shade with. I'm gonna carry this all the way over my lid as well. You know what, screw it. I'm not gonna do base makeup and stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and run this color under my lash line on this eye. I'm gonna do the same on this side. All right, I'm gonna go into shade 8 with this Farrah brush. Kind of looks gray, kind of looks blue, kind of looks brown. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna go right into here. Are you there? Pigment on brush. Pigment go on skin. I think maybe these pans were like pressed too hard. I've never had a BH shadow do this. And the majority of my eyeshadow is BH. Oh, we're getting somewhere. I just had to get it out of the bristles. Wow, now I know why there's no fallout. A lot of these little palettes are like super crumbly, and just running your finger in it makes it like run all over the place. I lost some of that first shade. All right, let's try one of the blues. I'm going in with my finger first. Oh, now that feels a little different. It feels a little chunky. It looks a little chunky. It's doing the same thing. As I move the brush, it smooths some of the color over, but then it removes color as I go along. I've never had BH shadows do this. Now this one, it's mainly like a hint of a base color and a whole lot of colored glitter. I'm just gonna flip the brush over and grab this what looks like a black shade here. Can't mess it up anymore, and it already is, so. It's like erasing the shadow. What the hell? Maybe it's because I've been exporting the same video for like an hour and a half. Maybe it's because I've been editing all day and I'm a little frustrated. Maybe it's the shadows are shit. What the BH, man? Like, I always rave about your product. What the hell? Now I done got shadow way too high up. I'm trying to erase it. I'm gonna take that blue shade again. Now I've got chunky stuff all the way up here. You know, out of all the BH shadow palettes that have come out so far, this is the one I wanted the most. And Sylvia was telling me how beautiful it is. Well, it is a beautiful palette. I've got fallout all over my face. Literally, I've got blue glitter all over my nose. It's all under here. The shadow is patchy. Watch. I don't even think it's showing up on camera. I can see it up here for sure. It's like, no matter how I blend, no matter using my finger, a wet brush, it doesn't seem to matter. Like, it's just not working like their other palettes. I am like completely freaking shocked. And now I can't even blend that one spot out. Go away. I don't like you. This is how I feel. I can't. The one eye's pretty. This one here irritated me. I'm going to still edit this and put it up. First impressions. It is not like their other mini palettes. I have never had this much issues. This is how a Morphe palette acts on me. It takes me hours to blend. The James Charles palette does this, where it sticks in one spot and won't go anywhere. You can't blend it. You can't get it to look nice. It's patchy as all get out. This is what my James Charles palette does to me, and it irritates the piss out of me. This palette here, I love the color story of it. It's beautiful. It is an absolutely stunning palette. I'm at a loss for words. The shimmers are all toppers. There are two mattes. These two are the only matte shades. All the rest of these are shimmers. Are they all gonna be topper shades? I don't want a palette with just a bunch of topper shades. There's nothing to really put them over. And then the highlight is pretty. It has more pigment than the darn eyeshadows do. I'd planned on doing like a full face of makeup and using this as the highlight too, and taking pictures outside. Now I just want to wash my face. I'm frustrated. I'm going to do the swatch video on that. I will talk about my issues in the swatch video as well. I will take pictures of the swatches outside. Maybe there are just topper shades. I didn't see anywhere that said that these were topper shades. Embrace your artistic essence with our mini Zodiac Cancer 9-color shadow and highlight palette, featuring icy shades for eyes ranging from cool neutral mattes and champagne metallics to dramatic smoky hues, plus one baked highlighter for a lunar glow. The one eye is pretty. It's also patchy. This eye I literally wiped off with a dry, 100% dry makeup cloth. Like, dry. I'm like so disgusted with this eye right now. And I had planned on doing multiple looks with this palette. I'm gonna have to try this out another time. It's frustrating me. I'm gonna start cussing, and that's not gonna be good. So let me let you guys go. I will see you in tomorrow's video. I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. Hopefully you have a better day than I'm having. Bye.